Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Apollo's Odyssey. I'm your host, Apolla Asteria, and I'm really excited about tonight's episode. I don't know why, I just feel in a good mood. I feel good to be here. I didn't do a show last week, and that was because I broke my laptop cord, and it took a while to find the right kind. So sorry about that. So it's good to be back, and tonight I'm just gonna do a little solo show about the latest in UFO UAP Disclosure because a lot of crazy developments have been happening just in the past week. I've been a little out of the loop with everything just because it's here where I live in LA, all the mandates, or not the important mandates that should be lifted, but the general mass mandates have been lifted. So everyone's having a lot of fun out here. The Oscars just happened, and I've been getting invited to events every night. It's been kind of crazy. So it's been good to catch up with friends who've been, scared of going outside, I guess, this whole time. And everyone wants to see me. So I had to take some time with that. And it's been a lot of fun. I'm sort of ready to get back down to work, but I am going back to Thailand in like a week or so. So yeah, I don't know if I'll be going live from there, but gonna be doing that again. Because if I don't go to temples or go on my tomb raiding missions, if I take too long between my times of doing that, I start getting a little blah feeling. So I need to go on another Tomb Raider mission, so I'll be doing that, and I'm really excited for that. Just for a short time though, so maybe a kind of a short time. Who knows how long it'll be? So I'm really excited for that. Also, this intro and countdown I've been playing, I don't know why. Every time I see it, I've been thinking I am so tired of seeing this on my show for so long. So I am going to work on that tonight. I'm going to get a new one ready, and the next time you guys see this show, I'm going to have a new countdown and a new intro. It'll be the same song. It'll be my same song that my bandmate produced for me, or my old bandmate, or whatever you want to call him, produced for me. But I'm going to redo some stuff in it and hopefully make it look much better, more updated. So I'm excited for that too. Yeah, and like I said, there's a lot going on in regards to disclosure, and I'm sure a lot of you are in the UFO community. Some of you maybe aren't and just like to see me or something, I don't know. But a lot of you are already involved in the UFO community and probably know about all this. But it's okay, we're going to go through it all together. And honestly, a lot of these articles I pulled up, I haven't even had the chance to really sit down and read myself. I just kind of threw everything together. I was kind of planning on going to a marketing expo today, actually, here in LA. But I realized, it's probably more important I do a show now. So I'm going to do that instead. Tomorrow, I actually have a very interesting interview lined up with someone who works for a certain space aeronautics type company. And he's going to do an interview with me. I met him out and about at some point over Christmas time, and I'm really excited to do an interview with him. And he can't really disclose much, but he knows a lot, but he can't disclose much. But we're just going to see how he feels about the future of aeronautics and aliens, and he can say whatever it is he can say, and we'll just leave it at that. So it should be interesting. It'll be a good show, and I'm really excited about that one. Zune here says, are you thinking about moving to Thailand in the future? All my people are living there half time, and I have some friends there already that are trying to convince me to move there. But I'm such an American girl, But I have thought, some astrologers have told me that I would actually do very well in the entertainment career internationally, or in any of my whatever I do with my career, I would do well internationally. It's just something that's major in my chart. So, and I have some connections there with that, so I might play around with that in the future. It doesn't necessarily mean I'll move there, but I was talking to someone about this recently, and it's I really wish like humans like I mean obviously there's these elite globalists, they're already doing this, they're like basically international people, they don't necessarily have to be from one place, it's like they have places everywhere, and like the planet is their like nationality, and I wish I could be that way, I really wish I could live that way, and maybe I'll figure that out. I mean, I kind of do have it figured out, but who knows. I was actually looking into the schooling there is super cheap, and like they have these like film school programs there that's like insanely cheap, and might be interesting to go there for like a year and do that, but I don't know. So, a lot is, I'm going to be going through a lot tonight. Really excited about it all. And before we start here, please remember to check out my art, which is over here at shamanspheres.com. I make uniquely handcrafted energy channeling devices, which I invented myself, that are for channeling energy. And I have a few left from my latest collections. I really should probably start making some more because I have a lot of conferences coming up. Hopefully I have time to do that. And a lot of these conferences, sometimes they sell out, just in a conference. By the way, speaking of the conferences I have coming up, I have the Mount Shasta Summer Conference that I'll be speaking at in July 7th through 10th. And a lot of these amazing speakers are going to be there, who a lot of them are my very tight homies who I haven't seen in a long time. And it's going to be quite the reunion. Brooks Agnew, Brad Olson, Laura Eisenhower, some other people that I haven't met yet that I know I'm sure I'll be tight with in the future, including Alex Collier, Robert Potter. I got my friend Sam Kaiwatz is going to be there, Arcturus Raw. There's going to be a lot of amazing people there. And so for me to like fund myself going there, I actually have to sell 3 tickets. And like that. So basically, if you get a ticket, if you go here, you click on this and purchase a ticket and go to the event in Mount Shasta, I will send you'll get your ticket confirmation, and yeah, your ticket is taken care of. I'll send it to the event organizers, and you will have a pass to the Mount Shasta Summer Conference. Sorry, something weird's going on the side of my page here. Go away. Okay, there we go. Oh no. Okay. 1 second here. Sorry. Technical difficulties. Yeah, so if you want to help keep me going here, please purchase my art. It helps fund my adventures. I can go on some more Ancient Aliens adventures, get some cool footage for you guys. Last time I was in Thailand, I felt like I didn't really get quite enough. I'd like to capture some more footage while I'm there this time. Maybe do some lives while I'm there. It might be like 3 a.m., LA or New York time or whatever, but whatever. Like I said, always make sure you hit the notification bell, when I'm going live. And yeah, by the way, I don't know if I explained my art technology quite enough before getting into all that, but they're all for channeling energy. Not only do they look very cool, but they're actually technology because they're filled with copper coils, crystals, magnets, naturally magnetic hematite sand, and quartz crystals and sand I collect from sacred places around the world down the insides, and they're all painted with crop circles that have been found around the world. They're all handcrafted by yours truly and autographed by yours truly. So make sure you check those out. I also have a lot of other things on here, including my own handcrafted organite creations, which are great for blocking EMF waves, and some things I made for fun, including these feather headdresses. I don't know, like festivals are coming back. If you want to look really cool at a festival, you can get some of these really cool headdresses made by yours truly. They fit to any head size. And I have these really awesome I Believe in Humans t-shirts that promote my show, and they have the show logo on the back. So that's pretty cool. By the way, also planning on doing another Shaman Spears group shoot soon. I don't know if that'll be before I leave for Thailand or after I get back, but that should be fun as well. So I'm excited for that. Okay, so all right. What do we get started off here with? First, okay, there's three things I want to go over tonight. First is the James Webb telescope. Just updates on that, and I'm just going to kind of generally explain it, even though maybe a lot of you know, maybe you don't know. I'm going to generally explain it, and then get into. I found some articles that connect it to ETs, what different, kind of more mainstream news sites are saying about this being connected with finding more on ETs. So I'm going to bring those up. They're not necessarily the latest articles out, but also I want to talk about some other developments with the telescope. And this all regards to disclosure because, this is obviously work in sending these telescopes out with the infrared technology. They may be able to find plant life or alien animal life on other planets. So pretty interesting. And maybe NASA or whatever already knows about all this and they just don't want to disclose it, so they're doing these projects to kind of slowly get a soft disclosure out there. But whatever. I like to share the latest articles, and then I'll bring on, of what the mainstream is kind of saying, even though maybe I don't necessarily agree with, or maybe I feel they're disclosing things too slowly. But I like to share what the mainstream is saying, and then maybe put in my feedback during my shows, and then I'll bring on some guests that'll get a little wild and crazy with it. So, second tonight, I want to get into what was it again? Oh, the Navy ship that had the UFO encounter, which just happened 2 days ago, I believe, maybe 3 days ago. And then I'm going to get into the new government documents that were released by one of these three-letter agencies. I'll have to look into which one it is, but yeah, it should be interesting because apparently they released a lot of really strange things in these documents about UFO encounters, and we'll get into that later. And that's the craziest thing, and this just happened like a day ago, I believe. So this is all pretty nuts right now. Lots coming out. It's getting pretty crazy. I felt like there wasn't like a lot coming out in regards to disclosure in like the last month or so. I think is all this Ukraine stuff was kind of taking over, and that's why it's like I almost didn't feel right coming on here and talking about aliens when there's so much other important things going on in the world that should be talked about. So, now that all that's, it's not really easing up. Obviously, the situation there is still crazy, but, there are some developments, so I'm going to talk about those today. Also, before I get into all this, my homies over at Third Phase of Moon are coming out with a new documentary called, I believe it's Above Top Secret, and it's with a lot of really awesome people that are leaders in the disclosure community, including Dr. Greer, John D'Souza, Jim Goodall, and Billy Carson, I believe. I may be leaving some other people out, but you're definitely going to want to check that out. And I'm not sure exactly when they're releasing that, but they have an interview kind of trailer talking about that project and what will be coming out with that. So make sure you go to Third Phase of Moon and check that out. Pretty cool stuff over there. All right, let's get into this here. I need a drink of water. All right. By the way, if you want to see a real life example of my spears, check this out. Oh, 1028 Productions, my homie Doc Skinner says they released it yesterday. I thought the interview was released yesterday, but maybe the whole... Make sure, I don't know if you know this doc or not. Yeah, like from my understanding, the interview was released yesterday, but maybe the whole documentary was released. So we'll check that out. All right. Where do we start off with here? So first, I want to start with just a general update. Oh, thanks for the donation, Sylvan Forge. Much appreciated. You know, for some reason, I don't get many donations live on my shows lately. I don't know why that is. I really appreciate that. You know, I put a lot of work into what I do, so much appreciated. All right, so let me see here. Okay, so first I want to get into like kind of a general overview of what's been going on with the James Webb Telescope before I get into other things about it. Just in case you don't have a general background of it, which I'm sure most of you out there probably already do, but maybe you don't. So, I thought this article was kind of interesting. So, engage. Webb telescope prepares to unlock the secrets of galactic evolution. The cosmos has come a long way, pun intended, but the most fantastic story of all time isn't fully understood, especially the early chapters written in history during the first 300 million years of the universe's 13.8 billion year existence. How did they come up with that number? It's kind of crazy. The James Webb telescope could be the key. The observatory can look for about 3 times as far back in time than the iconic Hubble. And I just want to pause there and say, you know, it's always fascinating to me that technically going through space, you're going through time. So if you're going through space, you're time traveling. I know there's all these weird, like, I mean, I guess I can't say it's a concept, it's reality, but if you go, you know, so many light years into outer space and come back, Earth may have evolved like, you know, like maybe like 10, 20 years may have gone by on Earth and you're still like the same age. Kind of weird stuff, you know. It's kind of hard to wrap your mind around. And like a very small, you know, I guess example of this is just well, it has to do with mass, obviously, and like gravity. So if you're at the bottom of the Great Pyramid, because of the mass of the pyramid, if you're right around the bottom of the pyramid, you actually experience time differently than people that are away from the pyramid. So that's kind of interesting, and that's kind of a way to like sort of understand what I'm saying here. But going on here, so the observatory can look about 3 times as far back in time than the iconic Hubble. The Webb will detect infrared wavelengths long enough to pierce through the dense smog of all the light and dust that sits between Earth and the furthest galactic post, revealing information about the ancient universe where these wavelengths began their journey through space billions of years ago. Though not quite yet ready to collect the data, the Webb telescope promises a level of perception made possible by its 4 instruments. These instruments can operate at the same time to siphon observations of objects like galaxies, maximizing the efficiency of the telescope. So here's a little mission update here from March 17th. And I know going back will be the later updates or the earlier updates. So I want to share this one with you all, and then I'll get into some other articles here. So on March 17th, NASA announced that the Webb has started a new phase of its preparations to look deep into space and time. A 6-week procedure called Multi-Instrument Multi-Field MIMF alignment. This process will help ensure all 4 of its science instruments go live by the summer of this year. The process is a critical step following the Webb's most recent triumph, producing the mission's first focused image, released by NASA on March 11th of a star. The image was made possible by carefully aligning all of the Webb's 18 mirror segments to work as a single unit, but this procedure is also still ongoing. Webb Deputy Senior Project Scientist Jonathan Gardner explains to Inverse. And so here's what that looks like. The telescope alignment evaluation image. That's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. And if you look here, look at all these other galaxies here. And I think I was seeing on, you know, here and there from some other people's shows, apparently this has already been finding new galaxies that we didn't already previously know about. I mean, like, look at this. This is like an entire galaxy over here that is like not our galaxy, which is humongous. So that's pretty crazy. So, quote here, we line them up so that we can have a perfectly focused image in one of our 4 cameras. But now we need to change that alignment so that's perfect across the whole field of view of all 4 instruments, says Gardner. The current alignment process will be followed by spending 2 months revising the different filters and modes of all 4 cameras on the telescope. Finally, the procedures will reach a crescendo in the summer when the mission releases its first scientific images. Gardner predicts these will be published in mid-July 2022. So that's pretty exciting. And what will Webb detect? One central area of study for the Webb will be the early galaxies. These cosmic bodies are beacons for scientists investigating the early universe. Because Webb lets scientists operate more than one instrument at any given time, it can collect more precious drops of distantly emanating galactic light from these far-off lanterns. It's kind of weird that they call it a lantern. Webb interdisciplinary scientist Roger Windhorse explains how it works. Imagine a full circular pineapple slice with a hole in the middle as they stand in for Webb's field of view. Within the field of view, 2 of the 4 operational instruments can observe the sky at one time, Windhorse says. Collecting the data from 2 instruments at once enables scientists to reap twice as much information about the distant universe during a single window of time. For example, if someone snaps an image of 2 different non-adjacent regions of the early universe through the same filter, one shot but twice the data. You have the plan to make it sure that the data is useful, but if you plan it right, you essentially double the data, thereby observing 2 times as much efficiency, Windhorse says. This may be particularly useful for deep field studies, which look at the single field of view for a long time to collect as much data as possible for scientists to sift through. And so this image here is from the Hubble Deep Field telescope. But this just gives you an idea of, what this is going for here. But obviously this one will be much more intense. And I mean, look at all of that there. That is so crazy. Okay, I want to get into this too, actually. How Webb could explain galactic evolution. There's another big reason this approach is helpful. Statistical analysis of galaxies helps us understand their evolution. Galaxies are the islands of the universe where matter, dark matter, and light are concentrated. The stars and planets that coalesce in the earliest galaxies may have done so quickly enough in some places to produce supermassive black holes, now found at the center of almost every galaxy we've ever observed. Galaxies from the first few million years of the universe will be frequent targets of Webb's amazing eyes. Galaxies at the edge of Hubble's capabilities that can bring researchers one step closer to understanding why the universe appears the way it does today. And so this is a very interesting diagram of the evolution of the galaxies. And this is kind of something I'm working on. I talk about, actually, interestingly enough, in a script I'm working on for a certain project coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. But so here's the Big Bang here, and then the kind of evolution of the galaxies from the Big Bang. So pretty cool stuff here. And apparently they're trying to find these earlier galaxies over here. So it's a numbers game. Since galaxies evolve over tremendously long timescales of millions and billions of years, you can't watch a single galaxy's changes in real time. Cosmologists studying the evolution of these structures can't approach their research the way a horticulturist can study a single plant to glean its transformation. What we have to do with galaxies is we have to look at the most distant galaxies to see how galaxies start, and then we need to look at less distant galaxies to see the sort of coverage properties changing over time. We can't do a one-to-one comparison, says Gardner. So, this is just kind of a general overview of what the telescope is doing, in case you don't already know. I'll come back and check out the comments here. Someone said, Chris here says, the universe is a big place. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's really hard to think about something that doesn't end. Like, us humans, it's hard for us, or maybe just me, it's hard for me as a human to imagine that something just never ends. It's like, okay, shouldn't there be an outside of that? Wake Todd, I'm gonna delete that comment because that was inappropriate. So I can't delete it. Okay, I'm hiding it. Oh, okay, I showed it. Never mind, I can't delete it. Please don't comment inappropriate comments on my show. That's not okay. Thanks. Oh, Doc Skinner. Thank you so much for the donation. Much appreciated, my friend. Okay. All right. I'm taking way too long with this whole telescope business because I got a lot more to share here with that before I get on to the very interesting stuff. All right. What else do we have here? Okay. Okay, so this one's interesting because it talks about the connection between the telescope and aliens. Actually, wait. I want to share a different one first. Sorry. 1 second. Okay, this one first. All right, NASA James Webb telescope's hunt for alien life gets new clues. If a rocky exoplanet meets these specific conditions, it might also house a few alien beings. And so this is a recent article, actually. This one is March 28th, fairly recent. When NASA's James Webb telescope blasted off last year, it felt like our world grew a little more hopeful. This wasn't merely a telescope. Webb filled us with wonder, built to unveil a laundry list of the universe's greatest, most mind-bending secrets. It's made to elucidate black holes, confirm we have the Big Bang's story correct, and if they're out there, even find the first signs of alien life. Perhaps the biggest mystery of all is whether there's someone or something alive out there in the cosmos, or if we're utterly alone. Which would be weird and wouldn't make sense, in my opinion. Tending to that question, scientists published a paper Monday in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences to explain what precisely Webb should be looking for in pursuit of alien life. The short answer is methane, a molecule with 4 hydrogens and a carbon. But if we really want to refine our extraterrestrial hunting handbook, there's a whole lot more to the story. Otherwise, there are 2 things that could go wrong. You could misinterpret it something as a biosignature and get a false positive, or you could overlook something that's a real biosignature. Joshua something Totten, a astrophysicist at the University of California, Santa Cruz, and co-author of the study, said in a statement, "We wanted to develop a framework to help avoid both of these potential errors with methane." Okay, backing up. Why would we want Webb to search for methane or on exoplanets and not, I don't know, maybe oxygen? Well, it's not that simple. The way Webb will find biosignatures, aka signs of life, is by capturing light absorption wavelengths. Basically, different molecules or elements absorb different wavelengths, and atmospheric oxygen's absorption properties are pretty difficult to pick up. Oxygen is often talked about as one of the best biosignatures, but it's probably going to be hard to detect with the telescope. Maggie Thompson, who's also an astrophysicist at UC Santa Cruz and lead author of the new study, said in a statement, "The meaning of methane. In essence, Oxygen could be lurking on an exoplanet saying, hey, there's life over here, and easily be missed. But methane isn't too hard to pick up through the absorption mechanism. Plus, methane is pretty vital to life on our planet, so it could also be a good indicator of life. If you detect a lot of methane on a rocky planet, you typically need a massive source to explain that. Chris Sanson Totten said, we know biological activity creates large amounts of methane on Earth and probably did on the early Earth as well. Because making methane is a fairly easy thing to do metabolically. In other words, biological procedures or processes on Earth, including those of the human body, release methane often and easily. Reverse engineer that, and finding methane somewhere on a rocky planet in the universe means a life form, maybe even like us, could have made it. But remember, the team's goal is to remove any doubts or false positives while Webb scans for such life forms. One molecule is not going to give you the answer. You have to take into account the planet's full context, Thompson said. Methane is one piece of the puzzle, but to determine if there is life on a planet, you have to consider the geochemistry, how it's interacting with its star, and the many processes that can affect a planet's atmosphere on geologic timescales. Although we know Earth-based life definitely produces methane, some non-living things make the molecule too. Volcanoes, ocean ridges, hydrothermal vents, and even asteroid impacts. The researchers say it could make a bunch of methane and push it up into the atmosphere. We have to make sure that if the Webb finds methane on a rocky planet in the habitable zone, which is in the region in every star system most likely to host life, is not just finding non-biological methane. Okay, and so there's more there, but I'm going to end that there and get into the other article I find interesting here that deals with alien life with the telescope. Okay. So this is from Interesting Science Engineering. Oh wait, sorry. Let me see here. Wrong one. Okay, this one's pretty interesting too. And this is also by Interesting Science Engineering. How the James Webb Telescope may find aliens when another, I always say this wrong. I believe it's Oma comes. You guys know what the Oma was, right? You should know, but if you don't know, it's that long, cylindrical, asteroid-looking, but probably spaceship-looking thing that was seen kind of going through our solar system a while back. If you don't know what that is, you should probably follow Disclosure News a little more carefully. But yeah, check it out if you don't know. I'm not going to get into that now. In October 2017, scientists using... Okay, well, I guess I will get into it now. In October 2017, scientists using the Pan-STARRS telescope on the island of Maui in Hawaii detected something no one had ever seen before. They spotted an interstellar object in our solar system and named it Oma. I believe I'm saying that right. Sorry if it's wrong. A Hawaiian term for scout. First, astronomers thought it was a comet, but no trace of comet-like activity was detected when it swung around the sun at speeds of 196,000 miles per hour. Then astronomers thought it was an asteroid until further measurements detected something that didn't seem physically possible. This object from another star system was accelerating, and natural rocks in space rarely speed up independently. The science community bubbled with excitement as theories mounted that this might not be a comet. Instead, it might be an alien artifact, like a probe or a derelict spaceship from another civilization. Renowned Harvard professor Avi Loeb of astrophysics lightly suggested in 2017 that Oumuamua might be refuse of alien technology. In a book he published in 2021, Extraterrestrial, the first sign of intelligent life beyond Earth, Loeb writes that the excess push away from the sun, that was the thing that broke the camel's back when it came to convincing him of the provenance of this space object. Researchers in 2021 proposed another cause for what came to be known as Oumuamua's rocket effect, a form of ice called solid nitrogen, which is also on Pluto, could explain all the observed on the interstellar planet. And it was concluded that Oumuamua was probably a chunk of frozen nitrogen knocked off the surface of a planet and eventually evaporating into a flattened shape, just like a bar of soap after heavy use. The object is already leaving our solar system, but we may have another shot at examining something like it again using the newly operational James Webb telescope. James Webb will give us an intimate encounter with the next Oumuamua. As of writing, we've only seen 2 interstellar objects pass through our solar system, Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2018, but there are probably more on their way. And when we find the next one, NASA's newest flagship telescope, the James Webb Space Telescope, will have the best view of the newest interstellar visitor. With Webb now operating as the next generation of astronomy, the focus can easily fixate on the promise of potentially habitable worlds beyond our solar system. A fascination with aliens is understandable. After all, discovering a thriving or not so thriving alien civilization on a nearby exoplanet would fundamentally transform how we understand not only the universe, but where the human race and Earth itself fit in an unthinkably vast and unconsciously complex cosmos. The advanced tech on the James Webb Telescope will enable astronomers to study where these objects come from, how they're formed, and their composition faster, easier, and critically before they continue on their journey out of the solar system. When studying extrasolar objects from the Milky Way, scientists have had a limited suite of instruments to use, but the James Webb Telescope, that's about to change forever. The supreme sensitivity and power of Webb now present us with the unprecedented opportunity to investigate the chemical composition of these interstellar objects and find out so much more about their nature, where they come from, how they're made, and what they can tell us about the conditions present to us in their home systems. Okay, so, this is all really fascinating. And okay, actually, I want to get into this here. So, scientists will use Webb's spectroscopic abilities to analyze both the mid-infrared and near-infrared bands to examine interstellar interlopers that visit our solar system. Its mirror segments were coated with a thin layer of pure gold, less than 100 atoms thick, to best reflect infrared light. According to a NASA video on the flagship telescope's optical system, Webb's infrared capabilities will be crucial in the studying of the next Oumuamua or Borisov making its way into our solar system past our planet. The near-infrared spectrograph will help scientists investigate the chemical fingerprints of gases that cosmic objects release. This is a great method of studying them since any ice present on the bodies will be vaporized by the heat of the sun. With the mid-infrared instrument, MIRI, scientists will see dust coming off the object. These tiny microscopic particles, more visible grains, and even entire pebbles that could be pulled off the surface of the object, floating along with it like a cluster of ping pong balls. Breadcrumbs to alien life. Studying interstellar objects like Oumuamua and Borisov using the tools made available by the James Webb Space Telescope could connect eternal questions with long-sought answers. Among those are mysteries on how planets form from basic chemicals, whether the way it happens is universal, and whether our solar system is a notable exception of how planets generally form elsewhere. In turn, this could reveal how life comes to be in the universe and possibly constitute a major hint about where and when we might find alien life in the galaxy. Webb will find this out for us. So, pretty cool. Alright, there's more I was going to get into on the James Webb telescope, but need a little break here. I think I'll just go on to the next topic, which is the alien encounter. I'm sorry, UFO UAP encounter with the Navy ship that just recently happened. I'm just sorry, just going through your comments here. Oh, someone said Amoa. Okay, that's how to pronounce it. I'm sorry, you guys. Amoa. Or Moa. Mua. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm saying it right. And Cameron here says, have you viewed the sky in infrared? I have not. Or wait, I think I have with those goggles. I think if it's the goggles I'm thinking of that they used to have at Contact in the desert every year, I've seen them with those. Pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, so, this is all really fascinating. And, this just kind of reminds me, they're looking with infrared technology on, out in the solar system. But it's also interesting that they're kind of able to use this like laser technology to find things under the ground on our planet, like these underground pyramids and things like that. So I think it might be interesting if maybe in the future they might be able to start doing that on other planets. So that'd be cool to see. All right, so let's get into this crazy UFO encounter with a Navy ship. I believe they saw some balls of light, which is similar to my main craziest UFO experience. So let's get into this. All right, yeah, balls of light. See, that's my craziest UFO experience. The one that I have that I just really cannot explain was a ball of light, but it wasn't a car-sized one. So that's interesting. So, this is the New York Post says U.S. warship, and this came out yesterday or 2 days ago. U.S. warship was chased by 2 car-sized balls of light UFOs. Interesting that they say UFOs and not UAPs. Like, which is it now? Like it used to be UFOs, then they're like, oh, it's UAPs. But people are still calling it UFOs. I don't know. I think they're just trying to confuse everyone. It's kind of annoying. And so I'm going to actually play this video so you guys can see. I think they captured it. I haven't even seen yet. But let me just read this first. A U.S. Navy warship was shadowed by 2 car-sized balls of light that were unaffected by anti-drone weapons, it claims. The USS Kearsarge and the latest vessel to have reportedly had a UFO encounter as the U.S. military begins to open up about the mysterious phenomena. Documentary filmmaker Dave C. Beatty, who produced 2019 film The Nimitz Encounters about the famous 2004 U.S. Navy encounter with a Tic Tac object, revealed the reported sighting from October 2021. At least 2 objects are said to have lurked near the 40,500-ton amphibious assault ship for several nights while it was on a training exercise off the east coast of the U.S. That's crazy. Several nights. That's really interesting. Yeah. I thought this was something that just happened really quick, but apparently this went on for a while. The phenomena describe and okay, so it's saying off the east coast of the U.S. I'm assuming that probably means outside of North Carolina. I know there's a major base, Navy kind of base in North Carolina. So I'm assuming it's probably outside North Carolina that this happened. The phenomena described by sources familiar with the encounter as odd and menacing balls of light are said to have been followed around half a mile behind the ship and around 200 feet above the ocean. And they just apparently stayed, doing this. Beatty was contracted by a now retired U.S. Marine officer identified only as Mark regarding to the strange episode. The USS Kearsarge had been training at the time ahead of an overseas deployment, including with systems designed to take down enemy drones. The weapons included anti-drone Ghostbusters-style backpacks and systems mounted on vehicles. Pictures from the ship's public Facebook page reveal they had these capabilities on board at the time of the alleged encounter. The objects are said to have been spotted at night by the deck watch, who could not gain a thermal targeting lock on them. It is understood that the incident was recorded on video by the crew, but this footage has not yet been released. Why? Why not? Why would they not release that? It's so annoying. I'm sorry. Okay. Marines on board are said to have believed at first the unexplained objects were part of a surprise training exercise for the new anti-drone weapons. That kind of makes sense. I mean, it's kind of weird that this would happen while, they're on deployment for this exercise. So, I mean, one thing that kind of comes to me is like, what if, this was a black budget operation program that was working with the Navy to like help them test out their technology and help train these people. But going on, it says, however, they discovered the countermeasures did not disrupt the objects, which were doing swooping maneuvers as they followed the ship. Mark told Beatty that the USS Kearsarge radioed command about the objects and were informed the objects were not ours. The documentarian is attempting a deeper dive into the event, which is the latest UFO incident reported to have been encountered by the U.S. Navy. Beatty previously revealed deck logs that confirmed a UFO encounter by the USS Kidd when the destroyer was swarmed by at least 4 unexplained objects in July 2019. And there has been a series of changes in recent years after the infamous trio of U.S. Navy UFO videos, the Gimbal, Go Fast, and TikTok. The usual. The footage stunned the world and remains unexplained, and has sparked a new, more mainstream interest in UFOs. U.S. officials have set up a new office in the Pentagon, putting an official reporting structure in place for UFO encounters for the first time in decades. Blah, blah, blah. We all already know this, or I hope you do. Okay, so that's all there is on that. But, okay, I'm sorry. I thought there was going to be a video here, but apparently there's not. So, but apparently this is what it looked like. It must have looked like that. They haven't released the footage, so obviously the footage isn't here. But, obviously, I mean, this is a supposedly credible mainstream media organization, reporting on this. And obviously everyone on the ship saw it. So pretty crazy stuff. I just wonder if maybe another department, like they said, oh, this isn't ours in the training. And there was training to deal with these kind of incidents. So maybe it was actually kind of secretly the higher ups were working with another black budget operation to test it out on their training. So who knows? But my craziest UFO encounter, which I'm sure you probably all heard a million times before if you watch my show, I'm not going to get into it again if you haven't, but it was with a ball of light. So, and it was crazy. It just came to me in the middle of the desert. I wasn't on anything, I swear. It was like basically broad daylight, but kind of towards night. So it was pretty crazy stuff. And you know what's crazy? What's even crazier is Demi Lovato is now saying that she had the same encounter, and she says that she saw a ball of light in Joshua Tree. And I've been talking about my encounter for years, and it kind of bothers me. It's like, I don't know if maybe she literally had the same experience as me, and we have some sort of like weird alien soul family connection or something, or like maybe she heard me talk about my story somewhere. I don't know. Kind of weird. uh Maybe I could talk to her about it sometime. That might be interesting. So anyway, oh yeah, someone says Mr. Lear, Godspeed. Yeah, Dr. Lear or Mr. Lear died. John Lear, sorry, John Lear died. And Jordan Maxwell died. Two very important people. Well, I guess Jordan Maxwell isn't necessarily a part of the UFO thing, but very important in the conspiracy community. John Lear, you know, he was very tight with you know, my friend James or Jim Goodall. So I'm sure he's not in a good way about that. It's pretty sad stuff. You know, Renee here, Chris says, John R.I.P. John Lear, seen him tons of times on the History Channel. Love him for his Skunk Works Stealth SR 71 and 72 Son of Blackbird. Yeah, you know, pretty sad stuff. A lot of very important people in our community have been passing away recently, and it's unfortunate. But you know, another thing that means is that the younger people, the next generation coming up, need to be ready to take on the torch and continue with this work. And so I'm doing my best to do that. I know there's some other people out there who are as well. So, you know, I never had the pleasure of meeting Lear, but I had spent a lot of time with Jordan Maxwell, and it's interesting because actually one of his, I believe it was him and Zeitgeist was actually one of the first videos that really kind of started waking me up to some of the government stuff. I mean, I consider myself as always kind of, I feel like I've always been awake. Like I just naturally, you know, I never had a crazy awakening thing, but it was more like seeing things that confirmed to me what was true. So, oh, Prono here says, yes, Jordan has talked about his ET encounters and UFO encounters. Go seek it out. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just, I guess I mostly saw his work with, you know, it's kind of more conspiracy based stuff. So I'll have to go check that out. And it's been a long time since I've heard him talk. It was actually when I first moved out to LA and I started doing conferences. I used to see him speak all the time, but I knew his health hadn't been in a good way lately, and I hadn't really been seeing him in the community lately. So sweet. What was it here? Sweet Competition says, you're definitely carrying on the flame. I very much appreciate that. I don't know if I'm worthy of that. I I've been joking about that lately with people. It's like if I had to interview some of these people in this community, I would be like, I'd just feel like I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. But like two of those people, Graham Hancock and Eric Von Daniken. I would love to do a show with them. I'd love to interview them. It would just be a very surreal experience for me, I guess I would say. Okay, so the last topic I want to get into tonight. Let's see here. I think I have 2 articles ready to go on this one. No, actually just one. So I want to narrow it down here. Wait, hold on. Okay. So this is some crazy stuff here, you guys. And this is from Live Science. And this just happened a day ago, I believe. UFOs. See, again with the UFOs. Like, why did they change it to UAPs for like a year, and then now they're changing it back? Like, no one's calling them UAPs anymore. Don't you guys think that's weird, like, and kind of annoying? Whatever. Oh, I don't know what the proper term is anymore. I don't know what the proper like UFO pronoun is anymore. Whatever, however you say it, the proper noun is anymore. I don't know. I'm just gonna call them what I always call them, and that's UFOs until they're identified, and then they're just FOs. Like if I see a UFO and an alien comes out, I'm like, that's definitely an alien spaceship, so that's a FO. Okay, just messing around here. Okay, so getting into this is serious stuff, you guys. UFOs left radiation burns and unaccounted for pregnancies. New Pentagon report claims. You guys, disclaimer, I actually have just been seeing these article headlines and I haven't even had time to get into this and actually look at it yet. So this is crazy. And I'm okay, just that headline there, like that's insane. And I have no idea what that's pretty crazy. So I am really anticipating what they're going to say here. So apparently 1,500 pages of UFO related research were just declassified as part of an FO1A request. Oh, Freedom of Information Act. And by the way, if you don't know what the Freedom of Information Act is, it's very important that you do. And that is that it's an act, our rights that every U.S. citizen has the right to have information from the government. It's called the Freedom of Information Act. So, if at any point any citizen feels that things that are very important are being kept secret by the government, they have every right to, request information through the Freedom of Information Act. I guess, there's like a little disclaimer that, maybe it has something to do with national security. They can't say things, which doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, going on here, this is pretty crazy stuff. So, encounters with UFOs have reportedly left Americans suffering from radiation burns, brain. Oh, wait. Before I get into this, I just wanted to say also, so this is 1,500 pages just declassified. So I haven't actually got into reading all these pages. And, and there's other reports over the past year or two where they've been releasing a lot of information. It's tons of pages of documents. And I just want to say, who is taking the time to sit there and read through all these documents? I feel like I should probably take it upon myself to do this, right? Like, who is actually taking it upon themselves to actually sit there and read through them all? I know a lot of people are, kind of sharing these little articles and things of like, summaries, but it might be, man, it might actually be really interesting to actually go through and disclose or go through all this information. Sorry, thought I turned my phone off. Okay, so encounters with UFOs have reportedly left Americans suffering from radiation burns, brain and nervous system damage, and even unaccounted for pregnancy. Whoa. Okay, like, for what are they trying to say here? Is this aliens people being inseminated by aliens while they're abducted? Like, what? So according to a massive database of U.S. government reports recently made public through a Freedom of Information Act request, the database of documents includes more than 1,500 pages of UFO-related material from the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, a secretive U.S. Department of Defense program that ran from 2007 to 2012. Despite never being classified as secret or top secret, the AATIP only became known to the public in 2017 when former program director Louis Elizondo resigned from the Pentagon and released several now infamous videos of an unidentified aircraft moving in seemingly impossible ways to the media. The generic one that's shown everywhere. Shortly after the AATIP's existence was revealed, the U.S. outpost of the British tabloid The Sun filed an FOIA request for any and all documents related to the program. 4 years later, on April 5th, 2022, the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, honored the request by releasing more 1,574 pages of material to The Sun. According to The Sun, the catch... Oh, that's crazy. They released it to The Sun? That's so crazy. Wow. It's really interesting to me. So according to The Sun, the catch of documents includes reports on the biological effects of UFO sightings on humans, studies on advanced technologies such as invisibility cloaks. What? Whoa. And plans for deep space exploration and colonization. Some portions of the documents were withheld in part for privacy and confidentiality concerns, the AATIP told The Sun. One standout document from the collection is a report titled Anomalous, Acute, and Sub-Acute Field Effects on Human and Biological Tissues, dated March 2010. The report describes alleged injuries to human observers by an anomalous advanced aerospace system, some of which may be a threat to United States interests, according to the document. The report describes 42 cases from medical files and 300 unpublished cases where humans sustained injuries after alleged encounters with anomalous vehicles, which include UFOs. In some cases, humans showed burn injuries or other conditions related to electromagnetic radiation. The report said some of them appearing to have been inflicted by energy-related propulsion systems. The report also noted cases of brain damage, nerve damage, heart palpitations, and headaches related to anomalous vehicle encounters. It is unclear what kind of vetting process, if any, the AAITP used to investigate these alleged cases. The Sun has yet to share the full contents of the requested reports. The report also included a list of alleged biological effects of UFO sightings on human observers between 1873 and 1994, compiled by the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, a civilian nonprofit group that studies reported UFO sightings. The reported effects of UFO encounters include unaccounted for pregnancy, apparent abduction, paralysis, and experiences of perceived telepathy, teleportation, and levitation. Okay, but they're not getting into here, like, what does unaccounted for pregnancy stand for? Like, what does that mean? Like, are there, like, like some Virgin Mary situations happening? Like, does that mean that, like, maybe Jesus was an alien, or what does that mean? I just want to know. But yeah, that's it. So I guess I'm gonna have to go read the documents. Maybe they just skim over it and that's it. I don't know. But in closing, the report concludes that there is sufficient evidence to support a hypothesis that some advanced systems are already deployed and opaque to full U.S. understandings. Whew. All right, you guys. That was everything I had to share tonight. Going through the comments here. Renee Cruz says, they already have invisibility cloaks. I've seen the technology already. I have too. I think if you're talking about the whole craft thing, I had an experience one time in the desert, and I never really say that this is like an alien UFO encounter because I feel like it was probably our government's backwards engineered crap, but maybe not because of the area where it happened, which was either at the edge of Nevada or the edge of California, somewhere around the border between those areas in the middle of the desert. And I was at this like kind of smaller like Burning Man kind of gathering, but it was like not like the legit one, it was like a smaller one. And there was like I swear, I wasn't on anything. It was early in the morning, and I was with a group of people, and the just like the mountains. There's mountains, but they were like really far away, and it was just completely, nothing around for miles. And this craft just came down really low for me and my friends as we were walking out in the desert, kind of away from everyone else. And we were all looking up, and it was like the noise coming from was like really loud, and we're like, what the hell is this? And like it's like this triangular looking craft, from what I remember. And it was really loud, it was right over us, and then all of a sudden it just wasn't there anymore. It was like it was right there, and then it just wasn't there. And we didn't see it go away. It was like it disappeared right above us. And I didn't know if like it was some sort of cloaking technology, or I don't know, maybe we were all abducted and like partied on the spaceship and then got dropped back down and our memories erased or something. I don't know, but that was weird. So that made me feel like, there's some sort of cloaking technology thing out there. Thanks, Ben. I'm glad you liked the show tonight. Terry says, sorry, I got here late. Well, it's the end of the show now, so I guess you have to go back and watch from the beginning. But yeah, so thanks everyone for joining tonight. And before I go, again, I have a show tomorrow, an interview lined up for tomorrow with someone who works for like an aerospace engineering company, and we won't get into which one. He can't really say too much, but I think it'll be an interesting show. We'll just talk about what he can disclose about what he thinks of the future of aerospace engineering, and maybe what he thinks about aliens. We'll see. So it should be an interesting show tomorrow. I believe it'll be at 5 p.m. Pacific tomorrow, or 8 p.m. Central tomorrow, or wherever you are at this time tomorrow. So make sure you check that out. And before I go, please, again, make sure to check out my art, Shaman Spears, at shamanspears.com, because that's what funds me and keeps me going. And I would really appreciate it if you buy my art and help me out. I'm going to be here for like 4 more days. Well, a little out of town business trip, but I'll basically kind of be here for like half a week before I go to Thailand. So definitely go check out my art if you want some before then. Get some then, because then I can ship it out before I leave. Also, again, if you want to join me at this conference coming up in July, you can just click here and click on the tickets, and that's the all-inclusive ticket for the conference. It talks about in the description everything you get with the ticket, and that is for the Mount Shasta Summer Conference, July 7th through 10th. So make sure you check that out. Lots of awesome people who will be there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope to see you all there. And yeah, if you get that, like, this is kind of really, in a way, funding me going up there to speak. So it'll be much appreciated. I'm not, it definitely would help me out. So I appreciate it if you could help me out. All right. So thanks everyone for joining me tonight. And until next time on Apolla's Odyssey, over and out.